Looking for stories that are fresh and new? Dark fantasy, humor, space exploration, time travel, cyberpunk, alternate history, and more. They're in the L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future anthology. From 24 award-winning authors and illustrators, plus art and writing tips and bonus stories. L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future. Buy your copy at galaxypress.com, Amazon, or wherever books are sold.
Looking for something new in dark fantasy, humor, space exploration, time travel, alternative history? They're in the L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future anthology. Get the 10-volume box set with 159 stories and full-color illustrations, plus 34 articles with writings and art tips. Get the UPRN discount, $125 for the entire box set. That's a $60 savings for that beautiful box set. L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future. Go to uprntalkradio.com, click on the link, and place your order.
Whoa, what happened? Oh my, hold on. There we go. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Hey, Johnny Freeman, good to see you. How are you? Okay, so my camera's having some messes. Hi, Virginia. And so here's the deal. Check this out, right? As you could see, I'm like kind of being like a ghost tonight. You know, I don't have a clue. I'm telling you, it just like, so if I come in and out, okay, it's just my own personal feature on here for tonight, because it is Halloween and God only knows what's in my office. Oh, see, there I go again. But hey, Patrick Kelly, how are you? Hey there, all you paranormalies, mates. Tell Mom I said hello, will you? Okay, so how was everybody's week? This past Saturday, we had a show with Johnny Freeman and Virginia Lanigan, and honest to God, it was great. We got a lot of good responses out of it. It was so enjoyable. And with them two, all right, they are psychics. And so we're going to have them back on maybe in November, maybe a little like before December. And we're going to have a 2-hour show on psychic. You can get a psychic reading. Thank you, Patrick. That was an awesome show. But yeah, so my week's been okay. After Saturday, it was like, wow, after Saturday, this Tuesday came, and now I got my good friend coming on. I will introduce him pretty soon. But there's a couple things I want you to tell. I mentioned to you, October 28th, I will be at the Carnegie Hall, Carnegie Library in Homestead, Pennsylvania. Hey, Gary, good to see you, buddy. Hello to you, too. So 28th, I'll be at the Carnegie Library over in Homestead, PA, and I will be working with other paranormal groups. My friend Drake Bowman, he runs the Oakdale Paranormal Society, and he's been doing this for like the last 4 or 5 years, whatever. And it's a really nice thing that he does, because it's like, you go there, buy a ticket, and all the money that goes to the library for certain things, different things, which is like really, really cool. October 29th, I'll be at the Penn Brewery over there on the north side of Pittsburgh. I'll be there from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. and I'm going to do a little presentation over there. So looking forward to that. Now, October 31st is a Tuesday night. Okay. I'm not going to have my show. Okay. I'm not. But we are having a UPRN radio Halloween party that night, and it starts at 8 o'clock. So after you pass out all the candy and you're done with all your Halloween, come on to UPRN radio, and we'll have all the hosts on UPRN radio, and we're just going to have like a little Halloween party, and it's going to be fun. So we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. And so far, I'm not ghosting it that much. But it's getting close to that time, and my guest tonight is a very good friend of mine, very dear friend of mine, and we interviewed him for his last book, Coal Region Hoodoo, okay, on Chasing Prophecy. That was my old show, and now he came out with a new book. Uh, I hope I say this right. Flying Saucer Esoteric, and my guess is he's a good dude. He's a good dude. His name is Maxim Furek. Okay, and there goes my ghosting. A little bit about Maxim. Let's see. Okay, this is the wrong one. Hold on 1 second. We'll get to him. But how was everybody's week? Here it is. We got the bio here. Maxim Furek is an academic and an avid student of the paranormal. His electric background includes aspects of psychology, addictions, and rock journalism. He has a master's degree in communications from Bloomsburg University and a bachelor's degree in psychology from Aquinas College. He has written numerous rock biographies as well as paranormal themed books such as Coal Region Hoodoo, Paranormal Tales from Inside the Pit, and Flying Saucer Esoteric. His book, Shepton, The Myth, the Miracle, and the Music, was featured on an Australian Mysterious Universe. He has been interviewed on podcasts, including Exploring the Bizarre with the legendary Timothy Green Beckley, Art Bell's Midnight in the Desert with Heather Wade, and Paranormal 60 with David Schrader. He's a contributor to Fate Magazine, Normal Paranormal, and Paranormal Underground. Coal Region Hoodoo, Paranormal Tales from Inside the Pit, has been described as a fascinating look into the Pennsylvania paranormal wormhole through a never-seen-before sociological and popular culture lens. And that was one hell of a bio there, buddy. And without further ado, I am going to introduce you my friend, Maxim Furek. Hey, Matt.
How you doing, Sean?
Doing great. Thanks. Welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, great to be on Into the Night. And I know you mentioned that I had been on Chasing Prophecy.
Yes.
We talked about Coal Region Hoodoo. So this is great to be on your new show and talking about my book, Flying Saucer Esoteric, The Altered States of Ufology. So that's only been out for like 8 or 9 days. So we're real excited about that. And hopefully we could tell your listeners a little bit about it tonight.
Yeah. So what you been up to, buddy, besides writing books?
Well, 2023 has been a fantastic year for me. I mean, I've been invited to a number of Bigfoot expos. We were down in Ocala, Florida, Elysburg, Pennsylvania, and then Johnstown on September 30th. And I was there with Eric Altman from the Pennsylvania Bigfoot Society, and also Stan Gordon, who's, sort of infamous, I guess, in Western Pennsylvania. But we were on the same stage, and, that was just great to meet the people there. And, and a lot of them had heard of me, on podcasts such as yours. So it was almost like meeting old friends. It was great. But Johnstown was really, really good for me, and, a lot of fans, and I met a lot of new people, and it's just great. So, they're talking about bringing me back in 2024, and I'm looking forward to it. I mean, Johnstown's really a pretty cool town with a lot of paranormal activity, especially in the Masonic there, where the expo, the Cryptid Expo is being held. So, all kinds of stories of hauntings there.
There's a lot of history out there in Johnstown, brother.
Yeah.
Somerset County. That's where Flight 93 went down.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we went to that memorial when it first came up. It was just a chain link fence, and a lot of bikers came there and put their T-shirts and flags there. You know, amazing how patriotic some of these biker gangs are. But then
Yes.
now we have the new memorial in Shanksville, and you know, that's very touching. They did a great job with that. So, you know,
So, yeah, it is touching. In fact, I remember a couple years, I'd say about maybe 10 years ago, somebody that lived on that property asked us to go out and investigate the property because being that crash site and a lot of, you know, spirits are hanging around there. But we weren't allowed to. The government stepped in and said no. And we couldn't do it. Virginia says, hello, Maxim.
oh, hi, Virginia.
Maxim.
Yeah, thanks for checking in. Sweet Virginia.
Yeah, sweet.
That was a Stone song.
See, sweet Virginia. Yeah, she is sweet. But so how has Coal Region Hoodoo been for you since it came out?
Well, first of all, like I said, 2023 was an awesome year for me. I had 2 books published, both of them by Beyond the Fray. And your listeners may know Beyond the Fray is a paranormal publishing group from San Diego. So I had Coal Region Hoodoo, Paranormal Tales from Inside the Pit. That was published 7 months ago. So it's only been out a short amount of time, but already it's been as high as number 14 on Amazon's top 100 in paranormal sciences. And now the new one, Flying Saucer Esoteric, also published by Beyond the Fray. That's only been out for, I think, maybe 7 days, maybe 8 days. So, you know, hopefully Esoteric will do as well as Coal Region Hoodoo. And as we discussed on Chasing Prophecy, Coal Region Hoodoo was my attempt to take paranormal and spiritual themes and bring them a little bit closer to the scientific.
Right.
And I believe that, you know, the paranormal is part of the scientific. We just don't know how. You know, when we see things in the sky, you know, apparitions and things that are, you know, that we can't explain. I think that many times there's a scientific basis for it, but at this point we just don't know what they are. You know, it could be a new kind of science and, you know, a new opening. But
would that not run into like parapsychology? I mean, I mean, I can debate you on the science and spirituality bit. Okay. Now, I've known a lot of people that have tried to do things scientifically, but could not come up with results. But here's the deal behind that. Some of these scientists that I would take along on investigations, sir, were amazed that they got touched. You know what I mean? That they saw something fly in front of their face. So to me, I need to tell my people out there, and I need to tell you this, Max, is that I do not disrespect anybody and what they believe in. You know what I mean? I accept everybody for who they are and what they think. So maybe down the road, Max, they'll find some type of science that will kind of like say, hey, if we do this, this, and this, scientifically wise, maybe it will come up, you know, that it shows a spirit or an entity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Again, we're just waiting for data. We're hoping that the scientists and astronomers and physicists are doing their work, you know, and finding out what the new science is, you know, something that goes beyond Einstein and Hynek and John Mack and everybody else. But Sean, I remember, this is interesting. I remember when I was on Chasing Prophecy, and I talked about how I tried to get the spiritual a little bit closer to the scientific. And you kind of called me on that. You said you didn't really quite believe that. But there is one expert, Bruce Grayson. He's an expert on near-death experiences. And he talks about the connection between the spiritual and the scientific. So again, it's just, I think, showing respect for things that we don't understand, whether they be of a supernatural nature or of a spiritual nature, miracles, apparitions, demonology, miracle, whatever they are.
Right.
There may be scientific truth, some kind of scientific basis for it. But again, in our primitive state, we still don't know. We have technology, and we're able to go on the moon, and we're able to launch satellites and do all that stuff, and have cell phones and computers, and we've done all that. But there's so much more that we just don't know. We're doing good with the technology, but we're not doing. I think we need to do better in the scientific realm. And I'm not a scientist, so I don't know about all the hard work and effort that they put into what they do. But I think that's where all the great discoveries are going to be. When you and I are going to be on this show talking about the secret of the UFO has been revealed, by some scientists.
Yeah, absolutely. See, my son is I'm just going to say microbiologist. I don't know what his correct thing is. And I know for a fact, he's a scientist.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know how they think. He's my son.
Mm-hmm.
So for say some scientist that wants to do these things, yeah, but I would have to go with the weatherman, someone that does with the weather, because a lot of it has to do with different highs and lows of the temperature in the air.
Right. I was going to say too, with scientists look at the scientific method, and this year in Mexico City we had ufologist Jaime Maussan, and he revealed these two corpses, alien corpses, and so I think they were small in stature, large heads, three fingers, but anyway, they were inside these glass cases. And that's all well and good. He went before the Mexican Congress to talk about that. But, that's just step one. Step 2 and 3 needs to be the scientific method, where Jaime Maussan allows scientists, the scientific community, either in Mexico or, United States or all of them, to take a look at those corpses, to do their DNA, to analyze them, to use the scientific method to see what's going on there, if they are real or if they're a hoax. And that's Go ahead. And that's what we want to find out. But with the revelation that just happened, and I think it was July of this year, there needs to be more. And like they said on the X-Files, the truth is out there. Well, show me the truth. Don't tease me and titillate me and tantalize me, but show me the truth. Allow those corpses to be looked at by the scientific community, and then we'll make a determination once or for all. This could be the biggest thing that's happened, since the beginning of man. But we won't know until we have access to those alien corpses. And that's
what's crazy about that, Max, is that the scientists go in, they get alien DNA, the whole 9 yards, but there's going to be a certain amount of people are going to look at you like that was planted, like that alien DNA is planted. Those aliens are just mannequins, stuff like that. No matter how much proof that you give people, there are going to be a lot of people are going to say, no, you're right. You're wrong. That is not aliens.
I know, Sean, let me give you another example. When we go up to the moon, when we go to Mars, we bring back rock samples. And what NASA does, NASA breaks down those rocks into different pieces and allows the international scientific community to take a look at them, to analyze them, and then compare notes with each other. So that's the scientific method. That's what we need to do. With whether it's, pieces of from an asteroid or a meteorite from Mars, or corpses from Peru that we're presenting presented at Mexico City. So either way, and like I'm sticking with the scientific method.
That's what I love about you, Max. You're more scientific and I'm more spiritual, but
Yeah.
I do respect what you believe.
Yeah.
I have a couple questions before we get into Flying Saucer Esoteric.
Yeah.
What got you into writing?
Into writing?
Yeah.
Well, I was, I was writing since I was 5. And, I came from a working class background. So, we didn't have, well, back then, a lot of people didn't have TV and we didn't have computers. That was back in the Stone Age. But, my mother, sort of inspired us to read and write. We would play word games. Like we would take a piece of paper and let's say the word encyclopedia and number to 20 and try to make as many words out of the encyclopedia as you could. So we did games like that. She read to us. She, preached that we should pronounce our syllables distinctly, things like that. So my mom was pretty much into reading and literature. And I think I got that gift, that interest from her. And I used to write little comic books for my brother, and my brother would always be the one, the victim, like the giant bird would go and take my brother and put him out on the airy, at the top of the mountain, and things like that. So I was writing and drawing cartoons, and like many people, many of us baby boomers, and we were raised on black and white 1950s science fiction movies and horror movies, and the Edgar Allan Poe stuff in the 60s, Twilight Zone, all that stuff. I mean, man, we just had a full head of the paranormal and the horror. I mean, we loved it. I mean, I loved it, and my friends loved it. So, that became one of my interests, and I mean, it was more than an interest; it was a passion. So, along with rock and roll and pretty girls, I mean, I like the paranormal. So, I was, like most other, I guess most other kids, I just, enjoyed reading. And then there was a point where I didn't want to just go and read; I wanted to go and create things, and that became very, something that spoke to me. But even with Flying Saucer Esoteric, I remember exactly when, something was working through me saying, this is the next book. And it was like, something like some energy was channeled, through me. And that was the genesis of Flying Saucer Esoteric. And it was this year, it was 2023 that happened. So, I was like a madman. I was possessed. I wanted to get this book completed, and I worked on it morning, noon, and night. I mean, and then I finished it and submitted it and all that. But it took me to the wall, So
right. I remember we had you on, and you were in the process of writing Flying Saucer Esoteric.
Yeah.
What came up with the title for that name?
Well, I like I don't want to use the word occult, which would have also worked, the Flying Saucer occult, but esoteric pertains to a body of knowledge that's known to a select group of people. And, back in the old days, it might have been priests and, maybe the doctors, those people who had access to what was known as occult knowledge, knowledge that only certain people were allowed to read. But esoteric is a similar term, and Flying Saucer Esoteric pertains to that information that a lot of your listeners are aware of and follow. And Flying Saucer Esoteric is pretty much the story of ufology throughout history. And, like I said, it was in 2023, I was reading a book, and all of a sudden it didn't track. I mean, I just couldn't. It was John LeClaire. It was a spy thriller. And he's a great writer, but there was something that was off, not with him, but with me. And somehow I got flying saucers in my head. and I was consumed with flying saucers. I just wanted to read about flying saucers, and I started to go through my library and read every single book I had. A lot of these from the 50s and 60s. Started to read, take notes. A friend of mine from Philadelphia, Charlie Phillips, brought his collection of, just an incredible flying saucer collection, and lent it to me with photographs and everything else. So Charlie just had so much to lend to this project, and but I finished it and submitted it to Beyond the Fray. Beyond the Fray is really excited. They think this book is going to make some noise within the UFO community, and already, numerous directors of MUFON have been called and contacted, and so we're getting some response from them. And I know Susan Schweitak, who's the director in Virginia, and she's just a great person. She had me down at her conference in Baltimore, Maryland, a couple of years ago. So, Susan wants to go and do something maybe in Gettysburg, paranormal conference. And Gettysburg may be a perfect place because, you talked about all of the lost souls, the troubled souls in Shanksville, with the terrorist attack. Well, there's a lot of those in Gettysburg too, people that died horrific deaths. And
oh, hell yeah, I go there every year.
Yeah.
I've been going up there for every year for about 25 years straight. So yeah, I could take you to some places that you could get a whole brand new book on just one area.
Now, is that one of the most haunted places in Pennsylvania?
One of them, but I'll tell you, a lot of people have come up and asked me that question. Is it the most haunted area in Pennsylvania? And I tell them no. Okay. Where I live in Pittsburgh, there is, I'm going to pronounce it wrong. Sorry, Johnny Freeman, Monongahela River. Okay. And
Monongahela?
Yeah, Gila or Halo.
Okay.
Depends on what part of Pittsburgh you're from, the way I look at it.
Okay. Yeah.
But way back in the day, there was a lot of Native Americans and settlers were in that area. Okay. Max, Johnny says, yes, Max, you're right. But I'm from Pittsburgh. But
gotcha.
So in all my investigations that I have done, I found more evidence, more energy, starting at Elizabeth, PA, all the way down to Menneson, and further down Menneson. And see, to me, the whole Mon Valley is a lot more haunted than Gettysburg.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and then you also have the Chestnut Ridge, that 100-mile stretch right outside of.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, that's for the Chestnut Ridge. We've had a couple people on, and Johnny agrees with me. Thank you, Johnny. We had a lot of people come on as guests on Chasing Prophecy that claim that the Chestnut Ridge is like in the top 10 of most cryptids and stuff like that. So
Exactly.
I'm hopefully I'll be able to get out there and find somebody to go out with and check it out.
Well, it's interesting. They say that Kecksburg from 65 is Pennsylvania's Roswell, and Chestnut Ridge is Pennsylvania's Skinwalker Ranch. So
probably, yeah, I would think so. But Kecksburg, I don't know. My guest on November 7th has a whole new theory on Kecksburg.
Okay.
So if there's like a big controversy about Kecksburg. So, look at me, I'm ghosting out. So if you're not doing that November 7th, tune into the show, and his name is John Ventry.
Yeah,
so he has a good. I like we talked before the show. Who do you believe? Do you know what I mean? And to me, it just came out to where I need, make that decision for myself on what I want to believe in.
And then again, when you look at Kecksburg, I mean, what are the choices? You know, it's either ours, theirs, or it's extraterrestrial. So.
I think it's not ET. It's the German. Back real quick. This is the way I look at it. The U.S. Army Air Force went in. Nazi Germany was. Oh wow! You have tales from Marlborough, Tasman, New Zealand, Maxim.
Oh, great!
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Welcome. Glad to have you in here. But what happened was the Nazis, they were big into the occult, and some claim that the Army Force, Air Force, whatever, went in and they took that machine, the saucer, and brought it back over to the States. It really gets into it.
I know, and and that's just another example of Pennsylvania weirdness. I mean, we're really up there.
We're upper.
Allegedly, Pennsylvania is #3 state with Bigfoot sightings after Washington and California, and we're up there with UFO sightings. And the thing about Bigfoot is that many times people see Bigfoot along with UFOs. So there's that paranormal, interdimensional connection, whatever that is. But but it's and Sean, that's right in your backyard. So
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm like going out. This is my ghost now. But no, you're right. From the people I've had on my show and chasing,
prophecy,
who study the Bigfoot, that the UFOs and the Bigfoot go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Because whenever I hear of a Bigfoot sighting, first thing I do, hey Tony, what's up, buddy? Tony, this is my brother down in Texas.
Oh, cool.
All right. Yeah, and what it is whenever someone or I hear that there was a Bigfoot. Hi, Mandy, how are you, hon? Good to see you. Whenever there was a Bigfoot sighting, I always checked and see what the activity of the UFOs were going on down in that area at that time. But you know what, buddy? I have a couple questions for you. Hey, Robert Carpenter, look at that, Max. Wow. Hey, Cindy, good to see you. Look at Robert. He's from Indiana. Welcome, Robert.
Oh, yeah.
That's where my son lives, Robert. He lives in Indianapolis.
They're showing up tonight.
Yes, they are. They knew you were coming on, Max. I had you out there. I'm glad you're doing fine. Hello, Cindy. Good to see you. I got a couple questions for Max. Now, and this is not my questions, but if anybody out there has a question, feel free to ask Max. He can answer all kinds of questions. And the forest that Tony's talking about, it's very, very haunted. Might have to bring him on the show about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Look at all these people, Max. Check all these people out there come to listen to you.
God.
But I got a couple questions here. Remember, anybody out there want to ask him a question? Please do. You seem to wear several hats. You have been called a rock journalist, a paranormal researcher, and a ufologist. Which one is the real Maxim Furek?
That's a good question.
Yes.
I don't know how to answer that. I started out as a rock journalist. I mean, I wrote a bunch of books about rock and roll bands and bands that were pretty big back home. And I had a publication called Timothy, and just did a whole bunch of things. But I was writing a rock biography about the song Timothy. Timothy was a big hit in 1971, and a lot of people thought the song Timothy paralleled what happened at the 1963 Shepton mining disaster. And in both cases, in the song and at the mining disaster, there were 3 people that were entombed. Only 2 came out, and there were these horrible allegations of cannibalism. So as I was researching the Shepton mine disaster, I realized that Shepton had a lot of paranormal aspects. And boy, you're winking in and out there, Sean.
Yeah, I am. Is it bothering you? I'm sorry.
No. It's just, I mean, I kind of like it. Sean the Ghost. Look at this.
I see that.
So the Shepton mythology opened up the door for me to the paranormal. And I tell people, I didn't go looking for it. I didn't go looking for the paranormal. It found me and it hit me over the head. And, but just, I was so well accepted and recognized by the paranormal community as far as being invited onto podcasts and being invited to conferences and all of that. And so it's just been great. I mean, I think that people that follow the paranormal and ufology are just awesome people. It's an awesome community, and they've treated me with nothing but respect. And I'm just honored to be one of the guys talking about the paranormal aspects of Pennsylvania and the Western Pennsylvania coal region. All of that. I mean, I'm honored to do that. I want to do for our region what Stephen King did for the state of Maine. I want to talk about our stuff, and it's more than just Gettysburg, and it's more than just Lancaster, but it's Chestnut Ridge, and it's the just a lot of other areas, and in Pennsylvania. But we have it all. I mean, with all the immigrants coming here with their superstitions that were sort of low key. And then with the second generation, we started to talk about these superstitions and everything, as we started to blend in. So, but Pittsburgh's a good example of that. I mean, you have a lot of ethnic groups there, and, and look at George Romero, Night of the Living Dead. I mean, Pittsburgh and Western Pennsylvania is an epicenter of paranormal, oddities and anomalies and everything else. I mean, just, you have a lot going for you there. So Sean, you're in the perfect area to do your podcast.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But the problem is, the station goes from New Orleans over to Florida. So hopefully we can get it on up here. But Tony has a question for you. She says, Max, have you ever heard of if the Bigfoot does a long whistle?
Did I ever hear do I know what that means?
Have you ever heard of if the Bigfoot does a long whistle?
No, I don't know what that is.
Johnny, how about you, buddy? Have you heard about it? Johnny Freeman's a hunter, Bigfoot hunter. He's a good man. He's a friend of mine.
Okay.
But so I find it interesting that Flying Saucer Esoteric has been described as a virtual time machine.
Yeah.
Would you care to elaborate?
Yeah, that's what Beyond the Fray thinks. But it's more than just a reference book and a listing of UFO events. It's like a time machine. I mean, just open it up to 1947 and look at what happened with Roswell, and then look at what happened before Roswell. What was happening with ufology before Roswell and after. So it's a virtual time machine. Stories told through the eyes of abductees, contactees, hoaxers, scientists, planetary explorers, all of that. And what I do in Flying Saucer Esoteric, I tell the story starting with the people that lived before Christ during the BC time period, theologians and astronomers that believed that there was life on other planets, many of whom were viewed as heretics, and some of them either under house arrest or burned at the stake for going against the mandates of church and state. So they reviewed some of these folks who believed that there was life on other planets and talked about that and wrote about it. They were put to death for their views. I talk about, I have the second chapter lists a number of biblical scriptures that have been used by people like Eric von Daniken, to prop up his theories about ancient aliens visiting Earth and creating the pyramids in Easter Island and all of that. So I have those. I mean, and talk about what they mean, and then we go into the 11, 12, 1300, end up with the 2023 congressional hearings were David Grush, and he's from California, Pennsylvania, right there in Washington County, right next to you in Allegheny. And Grush was the one who testified, said a whole lot of really just amazing things, that he knows where crashed vehicles are. He knows where the extraterrestrial entities are. He will give up that information because it's classified. He will give up that information to the right people in the government, which again, much like the Mexican alien corpses, we need to bring this thing to closure, to a conclusion. It had a great beginning, an introduction. Now we need to go and bring it to some kind of conclusion, a scientific conclusion, find out where are these saucers, where are these bodies. Let's go there. I mean, we've already talked about that. So show your cards. And I think every one of us in the UFO community needs to be livid about that. We need to, make our voices heard. Show your cards. Let us know what you know. It's not good enough to go in front of those cameras, international cameras, in July of this year, and say that you know where these beings are. Let us know. Let the rest of us know. So. Again,
but I don't think that will happen there, Max, honestly, because they just don't want to give it up. You know what I mean? No matter how hard you fight, no matter how hard that you try to get answers, there's no way in hell are they going to give you any. They might have sent you out like a couple, like 40 some videos, and out of 40 some videos, they said, oh, one might be a UFO. And they're not going to tell you. But here's the deal behind that, Max. The government thinks we're stupid. Honest to Pete. It's the 21st century. We know more than they do. Yeah. But for the life of me, I don't understand why they won't give us more information on it.
Well, you're talking about what happened with Kecksburg. Through the Freedom of Information Act, we asked for information on Kecksburg, and what we got was all redacted, or it was lost. So they didn't come through. So
they're not gonna give it. But I want to come back with this question. Do you think there is a time machine out there that does exist?
Well, thank you. Okay. More green tea for my parched throat for you listeners. Thank you. Thank you, wife. That's my wife, Pat. So. Yeah. Well, give me the question again. Oh, the time machine.
Do you think there's one out there? Or do you think one can be made?
Boy, that's the $1 million question. I use the term has been used metaphorically for Flying Saucer Esoteric, but a lot of people have talked about time travel, inner dimensions, and it's a theory that I think is just a really exciting and juicy theory. And I would hope that that technology is somewhere out there and could be discovered. But think of all the wonderful books that have been written about time travel, starting with one of the geniuses. I mean, H.G. Wells wrote The Time Machine and so many other things, and his story, it is almost Lovecraftian, where you had the evil Morlocks and you had the other people, the docile people. Just amazing what H.G. Wells did in all of his, The Invisible Man and War of the Worlds and Time Machine. I mean, he covered the market. I mean, he was so good. He was like the Stephen King of the day. Stephen King comes up with all these paranormal things with psi power. Females with psi power, Carrie and Salem's Lot, and all
those good books that we're supposed to be watching during the month of October.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I would certainly like to hear about experiments in time travel, and that 2023 is the 80-year anniversary of the Philadelphia experiment.
Yeah, I was just you're reading my mind, Max.
Yeah,
we come up with that question to you.
Yeah. And I have so many different, attributions in Flying Saucer Esoteric to the Philadelphia experiment, and it seems to be like they're all in numbers in twosome. Like, for example, Dr. Morris Jessup was connected with Carl Allen from New Kensington, Pennsylvania. Carlos Allende, the mysterious gypsy from New Kensington. Fred Tracy, my friend from Derry, New Hampshire, he was connected to Admiral Forrestal, who was connected to MJ12. Forrestal committed suicide. But and then Al Bielak, who claimed that he was the one that pulled the switch on the Eldridge in 1943, creating the Philadelphia experiment. But Al Bielak and Phil Schneider were connected. And they started to go around to these different conferences talking about the USS Eldridge and talking about the Montauk Project and the Dulce Wars. And this thing just got bigger and bigger and bigger. So I don't know, but excuse me. I want to tell your listeners that I'm getting over COVID, so that's why the raspy throat. But one thing I want to say about Al Bielak, who claimed that he was aboard the Eldridge, that he was the director at Montauk, that he did time travel, to different, to the future and all this stuff. It sounds crazy. It sounds bizarre. But if you were to Google Al Bielak and listen to some of his YouTube videos, the guy is on. He's since passed. I think he died when he was 92, but he is articulate. He has a great command of the language and details, and he knows his stuff. So if it's fabricated, this guy he's a wizard. He's wonderful at what he does, but it sounds like he knows things. And the one thing I want to say about Montauk, and again, that fits into ufology big time. If in fact the government was experimenting with a whole lot of weird things around World War II, which they were, the Manhattan Project was one of them, Enrico Fermi's plutonium rod experiment in the University of Chicago, underneath the auditorium, that was another one. The Philadelphia experiment was one. And then, according to Al Bielak, the Philadelphia experiment changed the name and went to Long Island, where it was centered there in Montauk, where they would experiment with mind control and time travel. And we know that around that time period, LSD came into being, and the CIA had been using LSD for experimentation, for control, to see if it had any kind of a military application. Did a whole lot of unethical things with, dosing scientists with LSD without them knowing that. So even just
MK Ultra, Virginia, she's right. MK Ultra, yeah.
Yeah. So here's all these things that attributed to the government, and it makes sense to me that there would be an epicenter of mind control experimentation, and why not Montauk and Long Island? Why, if in fact there's a place where they store the bodies, why not Wright-Patterson, or why not Roswell? So we have identified some of these locations, and I don't know. I believe there's some truth to the Montauk project. Just what the amount of truth there, I just don't know, and neither do you. And I wish we did. So
right now, real quick, to the people out there listening right now, what is the Philadelphia experiment?
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, first of all, like I said, it's the 80-year anniversary of the Philadelphia experiment. But what happened was, according to the legend, there was a technique called degaussing. During World War II, these Allied ships would go through the Atlantic, and the Germans had laid down these mines, and the magnetic pull from the Allied ships would trigger these bombs, and they would explode. Sink the ships, destroy the ships. So what they did was they found a way to neutralize that. The Gauss, a unit of measurement for magnetism is called a gauss. So they would degauss these ships by wrapping coils around them and then sending electrical charge. So that would neutralize the ship, making them invisible to these undersea mines. Philadelphia experiment allegedly was a degaussing experiment that went wrong. They used too much magnetism. And what happened was, according to the thing, the Eldridge was teleported from Philadelphia to Norfolk, Virginia, and back. People died. People became insane. The movie showed people that were sailors that were melted, blended into the bulkhead, into the iron, the steel, and that was just like the most horrific scene, from that initial movie. Movie came out in, I think, 1956. And then what happened was Al Bielak, and I'm looking for my notes here, motion picture, 1984 it came out. Al Bielak claimed that he saw it in 1985, and it triggered repressed memories, and he realized that he was on the Eldridge at the time. So that's the storyline. He said that him and his brother were aboard, and so there's been 3 motion pictures. There's been the movie. There's been a documentary. It's in my book, Coal Region Hoodoo. And I think what I add to the Philadelphia experiment was my relationship with Fred Tracy. And my cousin Jim Furek, who was in the military, he knew Fred Tracy. Cousin Jim was living in Derry, New Hampshire, so he introduced me to him, and I drove up there and I spent a weekend with him, interviewing him, and he had information claiming that the Philadelphia experiment actually happened, that there were documents from Admiral Forrestal, acknowledging that the Philadelphia experiment did happen, and towards the end of the war, and so. It's just interesting how it went from the Philadelphia experiment to the Montauk project, and then with Phil Schneider to the Dulce Wars. It just got, and then what's interesting too is, I find it interesting, but Morris Jessup, who played a key part in the Philadelphia experiment, and Admiral Forrestal and also Phil Schneider were all found dead. Now, Schneider looked like he died from a military, style strangulation. Jessup, it looked like he committed suicide in his car. That was in a parking lot in Miami, Florida. And Forrestal was being treated for depression at the Bethesda Hospital, and he was on the 14th floor, and he threw himself out and committed suicide. Again, all these deaths are questionable. Forrestal, if he was being treated for depression or psychosis, why did they put him on the 16th floor instead of the first floor where he would be safer? But and also with Morris Jessup, he was supposed to be revealing information about the Philadelphia experiment. The next day, he was going to be talking to his friend, Dr. Valentine, and so he was found dead. An alleged suicide.
That's kind of crazy there, Max. Honestly. And everybody out there, you seriously need to go and Google if you're really interested in the Philadelphia experiment, and read it out and come up with your own theories on what you might think.
Yeah, it's not going away. It's not going away. And it's really interesting. But I mean, Philadelphia experiment is all about secret World War II experiments, time travel, teleportation, mind control, just a whole, government cover up. I mean, just a whole lot of it. All the boxes are marked. So, Philadelphia experiment. But the other thing too is when you talk about Pennsylvania, the Pennsylvania hoodoo, I mean, Night of the Living Dead, the Blob, and the Philadelphia experiment. That's all of our stuff, right. Pennsylvania centric, our stuff. And these are some of the, most bizarre and most classic motion pictures. If imitates life, then we certainly did that with those 3 motion pictures. That, I mean, just amazing. I mean, I know most of your readers are probably not from Pennsylvania, but those that are listening really need to realize that Pennsylvania is a weird state. It's a paranormal state. I mean,
that we are. I got a question for you, my friend, and then it's 8:54, so in 6 minutes we're going to take a 2-minute break,
Okay.
maybe 2.5-minute break. But okay, where's it at? I wrote these down. I'm telling you, and I'm just like, there's so many questions. You know what I mean, there, buddy. Okay, where's it at? Oh, here it is. This is your second book published by Beyond the Fray Publishing. Didn't they also publish your last book, Coal Region Hoodoo?
Yeah, they did. Tim Renner, he's the Bigfoot guy from Pennsylvania. He told me about Beyond the Fray. I was looking for a publisher. My book before that was Somebody Else's Dream. It was a rock and roll biography that I completed during the hi, Cindy. That I completed during the pandemic of 2020. I needed a project because I was going crazy, but that was my book. And then I needed to get another publisher who was into the paranormal, and that I'm really pleased with Beyond the Fray. They seem to be treating me pretty good, and I like working with Jeff, the publisher. So, two books in the same year, and like I said, Coal Region Hoodoo is just like, I mean, this is the book. I mean, if somebody's looking for a good read, a Halloween read, I mean, get Coal Region Hoodoo. It's just like a tremendous book with a whole lot of, UFOs, UAPs, Bigfoot, hauntings, demonology, Philadelphia experiment. And it has it all. But
that's pretty good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
If anybody out there in the chat room or anybody that's out there listening, and if you are writing a book about the paranormal, okay, what's the name of the company again that they can go to?
Beyond the Fray Publishing.
All right, let me put that in here. Let me put it in here. Beyond
Fray, Beyond the Fray Publishing. If they're in San Diego, and yeah, they do a pretty good job.
So what I just typed in was Beyond the Fray Publishing. So if anybody's interested in getting the book done, check them out, because I think they did pretty good there with Max.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you one more question there, buddy, and then now we're going to go on break, okay?
Okay.
When you did your research with Flying Saucer Esoteric, did it lead you to any interesting conclusions?
Yeah, I think the answer to that is that, the flying saucers have always been with us, from the early days to today. I mean, we've always seen them, and we've always been seeing things in the sky. We have, true believers. We have hoaxers. Their 15 minutes of fame by making things up, but there's a lot of credible people, scientists, and credible politicians, people that have seen these things and reported on them. And so again, I think what amazed me with the research on the book was that they have always been here, whether it was before the time of Christ till now. So it's nothing really new, just that we call them different things. So.
Okay. So in about 30 seconds, we're going to go on break. Max, can you hang around a little bit more?
Absolutely, Sean. Looking forward.
Awesome. And everybody, please stay in room at 2.5 minutes. Get yourself something to drink, smoke a cigarette, do what you got to do. And we'll see you here in about 2.5 minutes. All right, here we go on our break. I need it.
Looking for stories that are fresh and new? Dark fantasy, humor, space exploration, time travel, cyberpunk, alternate history, and more. They're in the L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future anthology. From 24 award-winning authors and illustrators, plus art and writing tips and bonus stories. L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future. Buy your copy at galaxypress.com, Amazon, or wherever books are sold.
Hey, welcome back to the second hour of Into the Night with Sean Kelly. I hope we had a very, very interesting first hour of the show. There's a couple things, though, I just want to bring up. Again, like I did at the beginning of the show, for the people who just popped in. August 28th, I'll be at the Carnegie Library doing an investigation with a bunch of other paranormal groups. August 29th, I'll be at the Penn Brewery from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Doing a little thing, little thing like I do here on the show. And remember, Halloween night at 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock till whenever it is, UPRN is sponsoring a Halloween party, okay? And so since it's in my time slot, I'm going to be here along with the other host of UPRN, and it's going to be a great time. That last video you saw was done by Lorelei Plotvin, and she is the Angel Rock. Her show's on Monday nights, I do believe, and she's a very wonderful lady. And Lorelei, I have to tell you, it was awesome. I really enjoyed it. That was pretty cool. I might play it even when it's not Halloween. So what's going on, Max?
Well, we're getting ready for hour number 2, Sean.
Yeah, we are. We're getting there, aren't we?
Tonight, and glad to be here. And I'm hoping that maybe in 2024 I could come out to the Pittsburgh area and say hello. And
oh yeah, that'd be kind of great.
Yeah. So, but it looks like I'll be going out to Johnstown a couple of times. So
okay.
So that's
how about you were talking about going to Gettysburg. There's a lot of places. I mean, you can talk to different paranormal groups, different Bigfoot hunters and Bigfoot groups. There's a lot of them here in Pittsburgh and stuff like that.
And the one thing that's really happening is Bigfoot expos are blowing up. They're all over the place. I mean, there's so many first-time Bigfoot expos. I was at the Elysburg and Johnstown. That was the first time they had those. A number of them, I think Somerset, a lot of counties surrounding Cambria and outside of Allegheny County are having these Bigfoot conferences and bringing in the experts, the authorities. So just a lot of energy there.
We have an expert in the field here, Johnny Freeman. He does a lot of speaking too. I think is it Beaver Creek, Ohio, Johnny? If you're still on, buddy. Great show. Thank you, Johnny. Johnny, is it Beaver Creek, Ohio? Or because there's a lot of Bigfoot activity that happens down around there. And I know for a fact we go to a place, um, we go to a place called Prospect Place, and it's in Trimway, Ohio.
Okay.
And there's been a lot of Bigfoot sightings like right around there. Okay, you're not an expert, but you know what you're talking about, John. Yes, he done a conference this year. But back to the book. I wrote all these questions down, and we have to get to them, sir. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Let's start with
All right.
question number one.
Okay, you were invited to several Bigfoot expos during the summer. What's your connection to the Bigfoot mystery?
Well, I don't have any connection to the mystery. I mean, I don't know what they are. I wish I could see one. It's interesting. You know, I live in Luzerne County. I'm about maybe 4.5 hours from you. You know, from the Pittsburgh area. But
Right.
my neighbor, a couple months ago, we went out to dinner, and my neighbor said that he saw Bigfoot. Actually, he saw two Bigfoots. There was a black one that was taller than the cinnamon color Bigfoot, and he looked at him. They turned around and looked at him. Not that like they were afraid, but they were curious, and then turned and walked, not like human beings. So I put him in touch with Eric Altman.
Yeah, Eric's a good dude.
Yeah, put him in touch with Stan Gordon, and put him in touch with Tim Renner. And these are the three Bigfoot guys that I'm connected with. And I just thought that they should have this information to know that two Bigfoot creatures were seen in Luzerne County. So,
Virginia's from Pike County, PA.
Okay. So I think in a lot of these Bigfoot expos, they bring in the Bigfoot authorities, but they also like to have a outlier, somebody who's more into the paranormal or the ufology. And I think that was my connection with these. And Eric was in Johnstown. He was one of the one of the guest speakers, along with me and Stan Gordon. This September 30th. But they like to have people like me because I think I present maybe another viewpoint about Bigfoot creatures, you know, being maybe interdimensional, something like that. So, but irregardless, I mean, I've been well accepted and, by the Bigfoot community, and they're just a great bunch of people with a lot of energy and just amazing. The one in Ocala, Florida, in April of this year was amazing. And although I wasn't one of the presenters, I was interviewed by a paranormal station in Tallahassee, and we talked about Coal Region Hoodoo, which was just amazing. We had a lot of people, a lot of response to that. So,
if you look at the communities, the Bigfoot, the ufology, the paranormal, we're not bad people. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're good people.
Yeah.
Maybe people out there who aren't part of the communities think we're a little nutso because I was told that I was a little nutso myself, but you know what? I believe that whenever something happens, that you're supposed to take that path in order to do what you're doing. Like you told, getting to the UFO, getting into the paranormal, and all of a sudden you're writing books about it. You know what I mean? So, I mean, who knows where I'm going to go? Like I did 18, 19 years. I had Pittsburgh Paranormal Society from 2006 up to 2022. Okay. So I was getting kind of like really old. It wasn't as fun as it used to be. But during that time, I started doing radio, and doing paranormal. I mean, podcasting, and and like I want to start setting my sights on podcasting and stuff like that because I find it very, very interesting about it. It's just all around. My eyes, 5 years ago, when Chasing Prophecy came out, I did not know a damn thing about aliens. I didn't know a damn thing about Bigfoot, nothing like that. Okay. And now I do. And I met a lot of the people who are really big in the community. So I don't know. I feel like I've been blessed with it. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, you're in a great position. You know, you have a great voice. You have, great resume. Having had the Pittsburgh Paranormal Society, I mean, you know everybody. So yeah, it's just you're on a pathway, and and good for you. I mean, this is just great
Yeah,
being.
just good for you. Good for Johnny in Virginia and my friend Tony down in Texas. I'm telling you what, Max, I'm going to have to hook you up with Tony. And I'm telling you, he goes to this forest down, I want to say San Antonio, I'm not sure.
Okay.
And the stories he could tell you about that down there is like crazy, crazy, crazy. And I forgot to say hello to my friend Christopher Moran. That's my friend from England.
Okay.
He stays up late just to listen to the show.
Okay. You got him and the guy from New Zealand. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty cool too, huh?
Yeah.
And okay, so I got a couple more questions here. All right. Okay, you frequently mention that Bigfoot and UAPs have a unique commonality. What exactly is that?
Yeah, I think that in both cases, there's flesh and blood people that want to find the body of the Bigfoot, and the nuts and bolts people that want to find the craft, the flying saucer, the UAP, and we haven't after all these decades. So a lot of people like John Keel and Jacques Vallée and myself believe that there might be some sort of interdimensional connection, that maybe Bigfoot and UFOs somehow shape shift in and out between parallel universes or other dimensions and manifest here. Again, we don't know, but that's a prevailing theory. They talk about by location of Bigfoot. You see them in front of you and then they're behind you. So sort of like that. So there may be something to it, but we come to this conclusion only because there's been so many sightings of Bigfoot and flying saucers at the same time. Portals, maybe wormholes and bridges, like Einstein said. Einstein said that between with the space-time continuum, there's wormholes that go from one end to the other, and so by traveling through these wormholes, that could, aliens, extraterrestrials that live, millions of light years away, can reach us in a microsecond, through that wormhole. So again, that was his theory, his theoretical, hypothesis, that we need the scientists to go and try to figure out if this is a workable theory, if people could actually go through that space-time continuum. But again, it's the most, I think it's the theory that I keep on hearing all the time, that there's there's dimensions, bridges, wormholes, portals, whatever.
Johnny said he proved it at Beaver Creek this year to the group there. Yeah, it's a good story, Max. Maybe you should hook up with Johnny and he'll tell you about that story. I mean, like I said, I've been hooked up with the best people, the blessed people, around here, and so there's a couple names I would like you to get in contact with.
So Johnny, he's from San Antonio, right?
No, Johnny isn't.
Johnny's from Virginia.
No, Tony's from Texas.
Okay.
And Johnny's from here in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Okay. Pennsylvania. Yeah. Okay. All right. Do you have any conferences lined up for 2024, sir?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to be at the Hermetic Institute in June. And I'm going to be talking about Dr. Frederick Santee, who was a white witch. And Johnny's in Fayette County. That's part of the Chestnut Ridge. But I'll be presenting at a conference in Wilkesboro, Pennsylvania, talking about Dr. Frederick Santee. And he was a white witch. He was the high priest for the Coven of the Kata, And he was one of the foremost abstract thinkers of the 20th century, one of the youngest people to graduate from Harvard. And he lived 5 miles down the road from me. So I was his patient, his friend. I interviewed him, and just an amazing guy. Sybil Leek, the alleged world's most famous witch, was the one who initiated the Coven of the Kata there in Walpole in Pennsylvania. And just an amazing story. So I'll be talking about Dr. Frederick Santee, white witches, curses and poxes and all this stuff. And, he taught me a lot. He was a very kind gentleman, and he was very, very altruistic, he shared his information with me. But one thing I will share about Dr. Santee, he said any religion could be used for good or evil. You could go and use the right pathway where you do helping and healing, or you could do the left pathway where you would put a spell or a curse on someone. But he said if you were to do that, then you have to deal with karma, and karma would come back on you, would manifest threefold or tenfold. So
I know a lot of people that got a lot of karma coming to them. You know what I mean? But I don't know if I'll ever see it. I don't know if I'll be around when it happens. But I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
You say the dude's a white witch, okay?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people. I know a lot of women, a lot of men who are in the Wiccan community, okay? Yeah. And a lot of them are saying there is no such thing as a white witch and a dark witch, okay? And I'm sure I'm going to get some emails coming back at me tomorrow about that question. But to them and to me, okay, from what I have experienced from people who are in the Wiccan community, that, a witch is a witch is a witch is a witch. There's no such thing as white, and there's no such thing as dark. They're just witches. Okay. I mean, I just thought when you came up with the word white witch, that's like in the Wiccan community, that's not like a good thing to talk about. You know what I mean? Yeah. So to me, and this is just me, if I was going to that conference, I would look at him as only a witch. You know what I mean? I just would not think of him being a white witch, and that's my own personal thing. Yeah. So, I will
run that down and check it out and talk to some of my Wicca friends and just see Wiccan friends and see what they say about it.
Yeah.
I certainly don't want to use anything that would be disrespectful.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, and it's just I know I got into a lot. Not as shouting matches, but I got into a lot of, debates, back to back, not confrontations, but good debates about it. So
I think a good working definition would be something like this. I think a white witch, and I think of some of the Christian folks down in the Lancaster area that could possibly use the Bible to put a spell on their neighbor's cow, or maybe on their neighbor's pregnant wife, to do something, that not so good, something malevolent. And those would be, I would refer to as white witches. Again, Christian people that use the Bible, not for good purposes, but for casting spells. So
I've never heard that one before, my friend.
Okay.
Can you some kind of explain that a little bit more?
Well, just, having interviewed Dr. Santee, who was a member of the Coven, and talked to some of his people. And, I was able to go and put together a narrative. I contacted a number of witches. And the one thing I will say, after Coal Region Hoodoo was published, a number of Wiccans were certainly drawn to the chapter on Frederick Santee, Dr. Santee, and they told me specifically that they approved of the chapter because it was respectful of Dr. Santee and the Coven. So, that's what I'm at this point going by. I don't think that there was anything that was said intentionally, and certainly, certainly Wiccans have had a whole history of being castigated and put down by angry Christians who said that they were in cahoots with the devil. So, that's something that a lot of them are very, sort of gun shy about, because a lot of people still take their shots, and sort of like Sean, you were saying that they wouldn't allow the folks to go there and your group investigate Shanksville, because they didn't understand you, respect you. They probably thought that you were in cahoots with I don't know who, if not the devil, so the KGB. But so it's sort of the same thing. But no, I mean, I think I come from I hopefully come from an attitude of respect, and and when I did my research, the chapter on Dr. Santee has a lot about the what I call the Lancaster White Witches, and it's in there. I mean, there's a lot more to the book than that, but I mean, if anybody's interested in that, I just pick it up and just read about it.
So, maybe I might have to Google that guy. You know what I mean? But about the Bible, like casting. Now I know for a fact, and this is my opinion only, because this is my show, that they seriously need to rewrite that Bible, and I'm just going to leave it at that. That's my opinion. You know what I mean? I mean, I could have a 2-hour show on the Bible, how I feel about it.
Maybe cut out the part about the flood, right?
Oh, man. I don't want to go there. I got you, my friend. All right. Did you have a personal conclusions after retired Major David Crush 2023 congressional UFO hearings?
Yeah, we talked about that before. I think that he needed to show us cards. If you know something, will show us, tell us where they are, and stop playing games. And that's both David Grush and the United States government. If there's something there, show us. One of the things that Grush said that was really fascinating, he said that we've known about flying saucers and extraterrestrials since the 1930s, said that Mussolini captured a flying saucer, turned it over to the Vatican, and then the United States got hold of it. So in the 30s. So there's a great narrative there. And, I certainly would want to, get more information about that.
So how do you go by getting your information, Max, for your books?
Well, a lot of reading and a lot of research, a lot of personal, there was a lot of personal interviews in Coal Region Hoodoo. For example, I interviewed Dr. Santee. I interviewed Ed and Lorraine Warren, the Roman Catholic demonologist from Connecticut, and they were involved in the Schmurl haunting. Fred Tracy, involved in the Philadelphia experiment. I visited Shepton, talked to so many people in the Shepton area, Centralia, with Kecksburg, I contacted Stan Gordon, some of the folks out there. So a lot of this information is out there. You just have to put it into a readable narrative, that's interesting and well written and all that. So, but it was fun to do the research, and I've been told that Coal Region Hoodoo has a nice flow. It begins with Night of the Living Dead. It talks about what makes people afraid, and again, it's a great Halloween read. And then
now for the people who never heard about Coal Region Hoodoo, could you please share the story of the coal mine?
Well, if you're talking about Shepton, that was the 1963. There were the miners claimed that they saw the apparition, the spirit of Pope John the 23rd in the mine. And here, Shepton took place in August of 1963. Pope John the 23rd had died in June of 1963. So it was an example of life after death. What's interesting is that Pope John the 23rd, all three of his miracles, his purported miracles, happened after he died. So it was an example that many people, like Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, she wrote On Death and Dying. She felt it was a classic example of life after death. So, But Shepton had elements of out-of-body experiences, afterlife experiences, near-death experiences. The miners saw humanoid creatures. I mean, just a lot of bizarre paranormal stuff. It's probably the most, the wildest, and the most weird coal mine disaster of all time. One other thing that very few people know, the rescue technology they developed in Shepton, they used, I think it was in Q Creek, I think that was 2002. They saved those guys in Q Creek, Pennsylvania. That's down by Somerset.
Yeah.
And also 2010, the Chilean copper mine disaster. All 33 of those guys were rescued by Shepton mining technology. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
Shepton rescue technology. So.
And they got them all up.
Yeah. Total like 42 people between Q Creek and Chile. So yeah, it was an amazing thing. But very few people outside of the the Shepton, Pennsylvania area know about this rescue technology. So it's like a well-kept secret. I don't know why, but it is.
How did Dr. Morris K. Jessup's book, The Case for the UFO 1955, add to the narrative?
Yeah, Jessup was an important player in the Philadelphia experiment. And what happened was Carl Allen got a hold of his book, The Case for the UFO, and had all these annotations there. And it would seem that Allen knew about things like Einstein's unified force theory. Einstein wanted to go and merge gravity and electromagnetism into one force and have an anti-gravity vehicle or device. And so Carl Allen claimed that he knew about this, and he had all these annotations, and he sent them to Morris Jessup. I mean, tons and tons of them. And so Carl Allen inserted himself into this Philadelphia experiment. And then the government, the United States government got involved in that and wanted to know what Morris Jessup knew about anti-gravity, propulsion systems. And again, we talked about this, but Morris Jessup was going to reveal what he knew about these devices and killed himself the day before. So, it just, that didn't make sense because, I mean, he was going to go and do the big reveal with to his friend, Dr. Valentine. That never happened. So,
I mean, we talked about that the last time that you were on the show, and there's a lot of people think that he did not commit suicide, that he was like kind of killed.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, he came too close to the truth. So,
why do you think that the government, it just simply wants to hide this crap away from us?
Well,
is it for money? Is it for
when you talk about the government, don't talk about the president, the Congress, and the Senate. Talk about groups, almost like rogue groups, like the CIA, the FBI, and all these other groups that we don't even know about. They are being funded with black ops. There's monies for these groups that are maybe hidden in these reports. So they're funded, and you could see that funding documented, but we don't know exactly who these groups are, who they're accountable to. So a lot of these, I think, are just sort of rogue in the sense that they're autonomous. They don't have to fess up to a whole lot of government entities. So I think you have a lot of these groups there that are doing this, calling the shots, whether it's with Dr. Morris Jessup or Admiral Forrestal or any of the other people, Phil Schrader. I don't know. Too many people have died mysterious deaths, and you wonder why. You wonder why. So
Johnny Freeman says, absolutely, it's called the alphabet groups. Mandy says, cool, I am interested in learning all I can about mining back in the day, because my adopted dad, his dad was a coal miner.
Yeah.
Don't know much about it.
Yeah, if Mandy could maybe get a copy of my book, Shepton, The Myth, Miracle, and Music. It's out there on Amazon, but check that out. That talks all
Oh,
about.
let's do that. How do I spell all that crap?
Okay. Shepton, Sheppton.
S-H.
And let me hang on. Let me just hang on. Let me just get a book.
All right. I don't know, everybody. What does everybody think? You got all them books back here. Maybe I should.
Here's one for
Shepton.
Mandy Shepton, The Myth, Miracle, and Music. Just
Sheppton.
Yep.
The Myth, Miracle.
Yep. And music.
I'm typing this in, okay? Yep. And I'm going to give it to everybody so they can get it. I'm not a good typer.
So I'm wearing my Shepton hat too. So
there you go. Everybody, I just put in the name of the book, The Shepton, The Myth, The Miracle, and the Music. I don't know. It's all pretty interesting.
It's interesting because Pennsylvania, as far as coal, I mean, we fueled the Industrial Revolution. It was on the backs of all the workers, soft coal and hard coal. So, I mean, we did it, more than West Virginia or any other state. It was Pennsylvania. When you look at the statistics, the tonnage, just amazing. Those miners were like indentured servants. And then we had the breaker boys, little babies, little kids that were like maybe 8, 9, 10 years old, working the mines, getting maimed and hurt. And, the thing that really upset me when I heard about it, there were laws in America to protect animals before we had laws in America to protect children. So
really, I didn't know that.
Really, yeah. So,
but speaking of coal miners, it was perfect coal to make steel. Yeah, definitely, John. But my very first show I had on a long, long time ago, I have a friend that lives up in Montana, and he has 2 silver mines. Okay. And I had him on this show, and it was about Tommy knockers.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay. And the Tommy knockers, it was like a myth that came over from the Cornwall miners, like England. They came over. And I was wondering, sir, did you hear of anything about Tommy knockers in your, doing your research?
The only thing that I came across was that Stephen King wrote a book called The Tommy Knockers that might have been something that he lifted from H.P. Lovecraft. And I think.
Well, my friend out in Montana tells me that they do exist.
Okay. And what exactly are the Tommy knockers?
What they are is that they're like little elf people, like little people.
Okay.
And they go into the caves and or the mines, and whenever there's going to be like an avalanche or something that happens in the mines, they warn all the other miners to get out.
Okay.
And all they do is leave them cigarettes, tobacco, and some food.
Yeah, Stephen King wrote The Tommy Knockers in 1987. And in the story, the residents of Haven, Maine fall under the influence of a long-buried alien spacecraft buried in the woods. So that was the thing.
Can you imagine all the spacecrafts out there in the woods right now? Holy mackerel.
No, yeah, I know.
I mean, and all the Bigfoot people that say that there's a lot of Bigfoot are out, instead of going through the portal, they probably just hang around here. You know what I mean? I really believe, and this is my theory, is that Bigfoot are more afraid of us than we are of them. And that's why that there's really not too much, stuff that has happened to people. I know there are a couple of incidents that happened with the Wolfman or not the Wolfman or the, what's the dog one?
Dogman.
Dogman, yeah. And we have those up here in Pennsylvania too, there, Max.
Uh-huh.
Johnny says his grandfather went in mine to work at, what he did was tend the mules. You know what I mean? But it just amazes me, what we see today as paranormal, what we experience as paranormal. Can you imagine all the paranormal back then? My God, it would be like so interesting. And
You mean down in the mines?
the mines everywhere, anywhere, except in, that people saw things that they really can't explain what they saw, right? I believe, in fact, that a lot of people back in the 40s were put into mental homes or insane asylums because they were seeing ghosts, or you know what I mean, or hearing something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there was definitely nothing wrong with them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So you got all these people who are normal, but they're going to insane asylums because they saw a ghost. So I don't know. This world's really messed up there, Max.
Yeah,
But
and it may not be getting any better, but
yeah. Listen, I got 5 more minutes with you, brother, and I got to let you off. 4 minutes, well, and I got to let you go.
okay.
Now, my question is, sir, how can people reach you? Upcoming dates, what do you got going on? Razz it all out there, brother. Razz it all out there.
Yeah, if they want to contact me, they could check out my website. It's www.maximfurek.com, MAXIMFUREK.com. And there's a way to contact me. If they wanted to get autographed copies of any of my books, they can. Or if they want to just read about me or see where I'm going to be, I need to go and get that, my schedule updated. I'll do that. But I plan on being out in the, be doing a number of conferences in 2024. And looking forward to it. I think that, it's going to be nice going out there talking about Coal Region Hoodoo and Flying Saucer Esoteric. So,
and I'm going to ask you one more question. What are you going to do on Halloween night?
I'd like to binge watch something. I don't know what. When we were just down in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, just last week, and I watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre when we were there. So that was really, really cool. So I don't know. I'm gonna, there's typically a lot of good, horror programs on. So I'm gonna go and watch one and or several or binge watch. So that's.
Do you pass out candy or where you're at?
No, not here. I did back home in Pennsylvania. Now we're down in Florida. So where we live, there's, it's like an adult community, gated. Okay. We don't have any fun,
Oh man, come on, Max. Come on, throw a party there, buddy.
Yeah, I should have a party. Yeah.
Yeah. Coal Region Hoodoo party.
Yeah.
But listen,
yeah. Well, thank you for having me on Into the Night.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, this is great. And I hope that your listeners might be interested in Flying Saucer Esoteric. It just came out. And, and also if they buy any of my books, please consider putting a review on Amazon.com. I mean, it means a lot to us authors, and it does help out. So if you could write a review, good, bad, or whatever, that'd be great.
All right, Max, thank you very much. You have a safe Halloween, and I'll talk to you soon. All right, bud?
Okay, thanks, Sean. I appreciate it. Okay, good luck with Into the Night.
Thank you. Wow, that was a great show tonight. Honest to God, I love Max. He's great. Virginia says she said she was nice to meet you, Max. So, but I'll tell you what, it was a great show. I love Max to death. I really do. There are times that we disagree with each other, but you know what? If we couldn't disagree or have our own thoughts, then this world would be like really boring, I would think. You know what I mean? Look at my ghost action there. Check it out. Where did I go, ladies and gentlemen? But no, it's getting close to the time, to where I could draw my cards. Okay, I draw my cards, and we all know the deal. It's the animal medicine cards. Thank you, Cindy. It's good to have you here. Sebastian, dude, thank you for being on. Boy, you got all kinds of people here, Max. I'll put you on real quick, Max. There you go. Max, you got all these people thanking you, brother. He's very knowledgeable. Thank you, Max. Nice to meet you, Max. That's good.
That's so heartwarming.
Thanks, Sonny.
Thank you so much. I can't see this, but it sounds great. So I'm glad the viewers listened in, and I hope that it was they found it informative.
Yeah, they really did. All right, buddy. I'll let you be.
Thanks, Sean. Take care, and we'll keep in touch. I appreciate this.
All right, pal. Have a good one.
Take care. Okay, bye now.
Bye. Let me get you out of there.
Okay.
I'll kick you from school. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Okay. So, again, it was a decent show tonight. It was a good show. I'm real interested at really diving deep into his new book, Flying Saucer Esoteric. I mean, I don't know. Every time I talk to Max and I have him on the show, I get to learn I learn a lot more stuff. He's a good dude, man. He's a good person. He's good people. So it is that time of the show, everybody, that I am going to draw 3 cards, the animal medicine deck cards. And is anybody out there that actually looked up the animals from last week? If so, if you want to talk about it, you're more than welcome to put it there in the chat room so I can share it with everybody. But okay, so the 3 cards, the first card I pull will be your past. The second card will be what's going on right now, why that animal's with you right now. And the third card is your future card, right? We got a little bit of time. I'll look in the book for the definitions. But so if we don't get to the definitions, what I would, what I tell everybody is go to Google and type in the animal totem and see the reason why that was chosen for you. Now I'll be the first one to tell you that this reading could not be for everybody, but it could be for some people. We don't know. But okay, so I am shuffling the deck here. Alrighty. Okay. All right, and I'm going to cut the cards. Remember, get your pens and paper. So I'm cutting it once, cutting it twice. Okay, here we go. The first card I have for you, everybody, is the squirrel. The squirrel. Okay, we'll write that down. That is your past card. Okay. Your now card, animal. Ooh. It's the horse. Okay. And your future card is the mouse. That's interesting. So the 3 animals cards that I drew tonight was the squirrel, the horse, and the mouse. So if you want to, let's see where are we at, 9:43. Okay, yeah, we've got a couple minutes. If I have a hard time finding these things, and then we'll just figure it out on our own. Okay, I need to get to the scroll first. There we go, 141. All right, where are we at? Okay. All righty. Okay. All right. It's the gathering. Now, this is your past card, the scroll. That scroll means gathering. If Squirrel has scurried into your cards today, it may be that you are being told to honor your future by readying yourself for change. The message could be to enlighten your load if you have gathered too many things that do not serve you. These things can include thoughts, worries, pressures, stresses, or gadgets that have been broken for years. In understanding the balance involved in gathering, you need to look at the idea of circulating the stock of what you have gathered. Call the nearest thrift store and give the gadgets to someone who can benefit from them. If something no longer grows corn for you, then it's time to let it go. And that's your pass card, which is, I think, pretty cool for everybody. The horse, which is the now, you can find the horse. There we go, 177. Let's get back here for the horse. Now, 177. Okay, now. Oh, wow, this is crazy. See if we can find it. The horse means power. So I guess you have a ton of power going on for you. Thank you, Virginia. But we're not going to get time. It's getting pretty close to the time to ending the show. But remember to scroll the horse, the mouse. You know what? I'm glad that today's show went along really great. Next week, I will not be on. There will not be an Into the Night, but there will be the UPRN Halloween party starting at 8 o'clock. And again, if you have any questions that you would like to ask about Max and his books or something like that, give me an email or talk to me, and then I'll make sure it gets back to him. And if you want any of his books, go for it. I mean, he's a good author. He got good stories to tell you. I want to wish everybody a very happy Halloween. Okay. Please be safe out there. Watch out for the little kids running around in the streets. I know where I live, they block off a lot of streets so the kids go trick or treating. But I don't know. One more week of this, and then November comes, and who knows? That's the start of my season. Hope that you are back the week after, Sean. Oh, yeah, I'll definitely be back, Sebastian. Thank you again for staying up late and listening to the show. That really means a lot to me. It does. I want to thank everybody that came in and listened to Max and me, and I want to thank you for all your remarks, all your inputs that you put out there. But again, Halloween coming up. Please be careful. Take candies, you know what I mean? Keep the kids safe. That's our whole main goal. Our whole main goal in life right now is to keep the kids safe. Protect the kids. You have to. You have to protect the kids. There's no ands, ifs, or doubts about it. You got to protect the kids. And parents, if you have children, please, please, please go up to them and give them a hug and tell them that you love them. Okay? And children, please go to your parents and give them a hug and tell them you love them. And if you don't have no children, or if you don't have no parents, find somebody that you can give a hug to, and to tell them you love them. Not only would it work for you, but it will definitely work for them. And this is a holiday season coming up. Thanksgiving's only like about 30 days far in advance, 30 days. And this is a real hard time for everybody who when it comes to the holiday season, because everybody is depressed um, and all kinds of other negative things that happen. And if you see somebody hurting, please, I ask you, please, just sit with them. Please sit with them and talk with them. And if they don't want to talk, just sit with them. And on that note, everybody, let's see what we got. On that note, I want to wish everybody again a happy Halloween. Thank you for coming on and listening to Max Furek on Into the Night with Sean Kelly next Tuesday. We'll have our Halloween show. All the guests will be on here. And everybody have a good night. And on that note, before I go, thank you, Lord. I also, on the second hour, I forgot I had to put this in. I want to thank my sponsor, Carnation, for sponsoring the second half of this show. I truly appreciate it. Good night, Sebastian. And everybody, good night. Good luck. Happy hunting. Let me get to my thingy. I'll play that one more time.